Geographic TV presents This gorgeous town, located in the heart of the wooded mountains, is called Dilijan, one of the most picturesque and beautiful corners in the Armenian highland. It is situated on the bank of the river Akstep in the province of Taush of the Republic of Armenia, 106 kilometers from the capital Yerevan. The height of the location is 1,250 up to 1,510 meters above the sea level. With mountainous climate, Dilijan is a spot town of national and international significance. The city is surrounded by the mountain range Pambak from the south and by ramifications of the mountain range Bazum from the north. The climate of Dilijan is mild. The air is clean, filled with a vivid set of pine trees. In the center of its wooded mountains, we can see the gorge of Dilijan, full of fascination and charm. This gorge gate has been stirring since immemorial times. One way of the road for transferring Indian, Chinese and Iranian goods to Europe used to pass through this area and reach Ararat Valley. This road was known as Silk Road in the Middle Ages. It is known that the area of Dilijan was the hunting place of the Arshakid dynasty, named Kayanadzor or Zorapur, while Dilijan was known as Hof. In 1666, the name Dilijan was first mentioned in the notes of the famous French traveler Jean Chardin, who was traveling from Yerevan to Tbilisi. People have known about the healing power of the air, water and plants of Dilijan since immemorial times. Nevertheless, it is the climate of the spot town that has an exceptional value, so this town has advantages as compared to such famous spot towns as Swiss glorified Davos, Abastomani, the Bereda and others, said Professor Alexandrov. The first resort in the Republic of Armenia opened in Dilijan in 1921. On the road from Sevan to Dilijan, at the end of the round bends, which seem to descend from the heaven, begins the straight road to town, and a shimmering building becomes visible on a distant hilltop. At first glance, it may seem that the wonderful building is not handmade, as it is molded in harmony with the natural environment. The building is indeed shining, and it is not only a huge mass of pink color over the tufa that lamps into the surrounding greenery, but also, and most likely, magnificent colonnades, grand arches, and the columned dome resembling zwartnotes. It is the resort building Mountainous Armenia. The long-lasting clinical observations of balneologists have proved that tuberculosis patients are treated quite successfully in Dilijan. Walking paths and pathways stretch into the virgin forest filled with a set of alpine flowers and coniferous trees and full of tame squirrels. There are clinical biochemical laboratories, cabinets of electrocardiography, functional diagnostics, X-ray, oxygen cocktail, and therapeutic physical training, shower rooms. Mineral water Dilijan is widely used for treatment of diseases of digestive, hematopoietic, and respiratory organs. The resort works all year round. Even on winter days, sunbath is quite possible thanks to the abundance of sunshine, cleanness, dryness, and heat of the air. Within the limits of Dilijan, there is a whole range of mineral sources such as Baldan, Fioletovo, Frolova Balka, Hagartsin Zold, and others. The gorge Baldan can be seen from the dense green of the wooded canyon, where the valuable mineral source stands deep in the forests. On the riverside, the source splashes like a fountain. Its waters have colored the river rocks into rust yellow. The chemical composition of the source is carbon acid alkaline with significant composition of iron and other elements. Its composition is similar to that of Borjomi and French Vichy Grand Gris. The factory of mineral water Dilijan stands near the spring, where it is bottled and exported all over the world. Dilijan is 25,000 hectares of coolness and freshness, even in the scorching summer heat. The author Grossman rightly noticed, "It's only here that we ought to come to cure our souls." Yet, the most fascinated by Dilijan are those who have seen the autumn of its mountains and forests. The autumn in Dilijan is a true exhibition of nature masterpieces. It seems like this unique handmade statue named King of the Forest is the spirit of brushwood and wonderful forests, mystical, imperious and mysterious. Birds sing their beautiful songs in trees, forest glades, bushes and gorges. Brown bears, bugs, spotted deer and wild boars wander far in the forests covered with ribbons of fog. In general, Dilijan's forests are safe habitat for the disappearing species of flora and fauna, since a state reserve was established here in 1958. From the end of the 19th century till 1936, an outstanding summer theater used to function here. The greatest masters of the Armenian stage performed many classical works of Armenian and international drama. Rotondo used to be one of the most popular places where Armenian intellectuals of the Transcaucasus came together. In order to restore the theatrical tradition of the dome building of Rotondo, in 2009 a summer amphitheater was built not far from the historical Rotunda through the resources of the city hall. When Hrachan the Honest first came to Dilijan, he admiringly said, "If there was nothing else in Dilijan, Rotunda would have been enough to determine its people's manners and great love towards arts and culture. I have never seen such a convenient and beautiful theater building, even the outstanding cities of the world." Dilijan was one of the first towns in Armenia that had its state theater. The Archaeological Museum Gallery of Dilijan gives a complete idea of the history of Dilijan, historical development of local people, their living, material values, monuments, historic and geographic conditions. This building too was built through the resources of Dilijan City Hall in 2010 in the place of the old museum which functioned since 1950. The old building was in a poor condition and on the verge of destruction. Besides the remains of the cultural heritage found around the town on various occasions, paintings of Armenian, Russian, Estonian and foreign artists are on display. Dilijan Archaeological Museum is also rich in 3,000 up to 4,000-year-old highly valuable artifacts, and for its exhibits it is considered one of the richest museums in Armenia. In 1850s, the first archaeological discoveries in Armenia were made in Dilijan archaeological site known as Redkin Lager. The place got its name after the famous road builder, engineer Redkin, who had placed his camp near Dilijan on the right bank of the river Akstev. Most of the valuable artifacts found during the archaeological excavations in Dilijan and its surroundings have enriched the museums of Moscow, St. Petersburg, Tbilisi, Baku and Yerevan. Archaeological excavations have shown that humanity has begun to live here since late Bronze and early Iron Ages during the second and the first millennia before Christ. The summer house of Princess Mariam Tumanyan, currently Dilijan branch of the Folk Arts Museum named after Hovannes Sharamberian, is situated in the center of Dilijan near the Akhstev River. Hovannes Sharamberian was the last inhabitant of the house, and it was his initiative to turn the building into a museum of folk arts. Works by contemporary folk craftsmen and self-taught artists are collected here. The museum includes exhibits of ethnographic value. Houses with ornamented wooden balconies and red-tiled roofs built in the wooded hillside give brilliance and charm to Dilijan. Such old houses of great importance are constantly renovated and carefully preserved. The entire street was turned into a historic cultural reserve museum in 1983 and is carefully maintained. The complex Old Dilijan was established on the initiative of painter Hovannes Sharamberian. The goal of the museum is to introduce the history and living of Dilijan. 16 exhibition halls have been set up in the place of the former workshops and apartment blocks, where items used in everyday life as well as handicrafts of Dilijan's craftsmen and works by painters have been featured. In 2005, the American-born Armenian businessman James Tufenkian, who already had several hotel complexes in Armenia named Tufenkian Hospitality, rented the area. After the reconstruction, the area not only kept its original architectural look but also restored the workshop activities such as pottery, carpentry, carpet weaving, and others. The Museum Yesayan, maintained in the area, introduces the guests to the living of Dilijan in the 19th century and the past of the street. At the end of the 19th and at the beginning of the 20th centuries, Dilijan was known not only as a spa town but also as a town with its unique architecture. Coming to Dilijan, rich people of the Transcaucasus built their houses, synthesizing them with Dilijan house-building traditions. Combining the style of their houses with those of Dilijan, they create the so-called Dilijanian style. Rafi, Gevorg Bashinjagyan, Nardos, Alexander Shirvanzadeh, Leo, Persh Proshan, Ghazaros Agayan, Hovannes Tumanyan, Armen Tigranyan, Levon Shant, Avetik Isahakyan and others lived, composed and walked along the streets of this magnificent town. In 1928, when visiting Dilijan, the famous Russian writer Maxim Gorky made the following ecstatic notes. Yes, it is pretty amazing. Seems like the mountains hug the valleys and keep them like living creatures with tenderness and love. The air is unusually sheer at an altitude of 1,500 meters and seems to be colored with a brilliant and subtle blue tint. Mildness is the prevailing impression of the valley. Its deep bed is filled with abundant green gardens and seems like the houses are swimming in the green waves. The valley is among the most beautiful ones in the Transcaucasus. The famous Armenian writer Vakhtang Ananyan, great scientists Gagik Davtyan, Mushek Santrosyan, Vaharam Vahan and Vaginag Sharumyans, Artavast and Artashes Mkhitaryan's, agronomist scientist, hero of labor Anahit Ananyan were born in Dilijan. Stone ladders standing next to the round square built on the right bank of the river Akhstev lead to the picturesque hill where the statue of two soldiers stands high on the rocky pedestal. The monument is dedicated to the memory of the Dilijanians who died in the Great Patriotic War. There is a cross stone above the monument dedicated to the Great Armenian Genocide, and to the right is a source monument eternalizing the memory of perished Dilijanians in Artsakh War. The five-point monument, dedicated to the 50th anniversary of the establishment of the Soviet Union in Armenia, proudly stands in the town center on the bank of the river Akhstev. The monument is a symbol of the town and gives a unique charm. Not far from the monument stands a spring monument with the characters of the famous movie Mimino. One of the best outcomes of the governmental project to turn Dilijan into the regional financial center is the research center of the Central Bank of the Republic of Armenia, as well as Tuma Center Knowledge for Development, which was built in 2013. As a result, families of many employees of the Central Bank have moved to Dilijan. A multi-homed residential building and a cottage district for the employees of the Central Bank were built in the frameworks of the project. The construction of the Central Bank is a boost for many commercial banks in terms of opening their branches in Dilijan. Currently, Dilijan is expected to become one of the international educational centers. The Central School of Dilijan, founded in the result of the cooperation between the Central Bank and IAB Foundation, has been functioning since 2013 and already 119 pupils attend the school. After the entrance of Dilijan Central School into the education system of the Republic of Armenia, a school model was created, available not only for the Central Bank employees' children, but also for the children from Dilijan. The international school, established on the initiative and sponsorship of businessmen Ruben Vartanyan, Veronika Zonabend, Gagik Adibekyan and Vladimir Avetisyan, has been functioning since 2014. 190 students from 63 countries of the world studied there. Dilijan International School is one of the 14 colleges and schools of the educational network United World Colleges, with programs Cambridge IGCSE and IB Diploma. This school is the first international school of the educational network United World Colleges in Eastern Europe and the area of Commonwealth of Independent States. More than 30 magnificent hotels and spa complexes form the part of the spa town Dilijan. Situated in the surrounding hill slopes of Dilijan, they give a new look and beauty to this picturesque town. All the necessary conditions for international conferences and congresses, health treatment, as well as a full rest are available here. Here, the eye-caressing look, remarkable location, attractive inner atmosphere and high-quality service in one excellent combination are designed to meet any preferences and demands of the most tourists who prefer a proper leisure. Not only can tourists fully relax in the beautiful nature of Dilijan, but also enjoy delicious food in the rich Armenian cuisine. The training center for the Ministry of Finance is remarkable too. It is located in the place of the former creative house of the Soviet filmmakers on the road to Lake Pars. The composer's creative house, named after Eduard Mirzoyan, is in Dilijan too. Built on the picturesque wooded slopes, the house is a delightful and a well-maintained campus of cozy villas. When visiting Dilijan, Dmitry Shostakovich, one of the greatest composers of the 20th century, created the soundtrack to the famous movie Hamlet. The British worldwide famous composer Benjamin Britten created the vocal cycle Poet's Response and presented the manuscript to Dilijan. Arnaud Babajanyan, Eduard Mirzoyan, Avet Terterian, and many others always composed and enjoyed their rest in Dilijan. There are many historical monuments in the area of Dilijan. Most of them belong to the period of Zakharian dynasty in the 9th up to 13th centuries. The monastery complex Hagartsin is the most remarkable. It is located on the left bank of the namesake river. Finally, long-standing witnesses of the deep antiquity are seen on a high plateau. Saint Astoatsatsin is the most distinguished among them. It is a very tall, cross-shaped building rising with 4 arches and without a colonnade. The monastery was built in 1071 and probably experienced raids of enemies, suffered terrible strikes of earthquakes. It has been subjected to cold, heat, rain and snowfall for 900 years, but it still remains fully preserved. From 2009 till 2013, the monastery complex Hagartsin was overhauled thanks to the sponsorship of the Emir Sharjah city of the United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Mohammed Al Qasimi. A priory for the monastery Hagartsin was built too. The monastery Norgetik or Goshavang, to the west of Dilijan, is also of great interest. The road passes through forests across Lake Pars. It is 10 kilometers from the town. The forest is bowed in the mirror of its sky-blue waters. The beauty of Lake Pars is equal to that of the famous Ritsa. Lake Pars is indeed a dream and miracle vision. It is located in the backwoods 1,400 meters above the sea level. Its water mirror has a total area of 20,000 square meters and is filled with trees growing upside down with clouds and sky. Moreover, at first one confuses the lake and the sky and is surprised at the sight of swimming clouds under feet. Surely, the lake cannot be called otherwise than Pars, clear lake, and cannot be perceived otherwise than a miracle. Words are not needful for describing this town. Mother Nature speaks for itself with its beauty. Only nature can create such masterpieces. The forest path leads down to the monastery Goshavang. Goshavang was built by the great medieval thinker and author of the Old Armenian Code named Datasanagirk in 1191. Due to Mukhtar Goshi's efforts, Goshavang was once a famous convent and one of the biggest educational institutions in the Eastern world. Both Mukhtar Goshi's fables and his Datasanagirk were born in this monastery. The only thing remaining from the monastery is its greatest value, its architecture of international significance, certifying the constructive genuine of Armenian people. Next to the main church, there is a chapel, mausoleum, and a number of magnificent cross gravestones, one of which stands on Mukhtar Goshi's grave. Monasteries Jukhtak and Matusavang have their own place among the historical and cultural monuments of Dilijan. Cultural events are constantly held in the town and are turned into a pleasant pastime for foreign tourists. Each year in October, the town day is celebrated with great ceremonials. It has become a tradition for Dilijan to organize carpet weaving festivals, during which an exhibition sale of souvenirs, carpets, paintings, tapestry, dolls dressed in national clothes, and masterpieces of Armenian cuisine is held. In June 2013, the second stage of the FIDE Women's Grand Prix tournament, attended by 12 players, was held in Dilijan. The president of the FIDE, Kirsan Ilumzhinov, attended the event and made a speech at the opening ceremony. Dilijan is known for its cleanliness, beauty, discipline, restraint, pure air, scented with flowers, and unique attraction. Dilijan has touristic and friendly ties with Pétange in Luxembourg, Udine in Italy, Winchambly in England, France's well-known tourist centers in the Mediterranean Marseille, Aix-Provence, Saint-Maxime, and Roman in Romania. Thanks to the tremendous work implemented over the past decade, it has not only become possible to ensure a major breakthrough in urban planning, municipal services, cultural industries, but also to create preconditions for the implementation of major regional projects. Nowadays, Dilijan is known not only as a famous resort, but also as a town turning into a regional financial, educational, and major tourist center. When visiting Dilijan, one wants to sincerely believe in the truth of the following words: if there are woods, mountains, and streams in paradise, then the paradise should be like Dilijan. This plausible opinion belongs to the Russian journalist Yulia Kirilova. Seeing Dilijan, the American painter Rockwell Kent named Armenia one of the miracles of the world. Dilijan is a land of trees and flowers, town of light and sun, Armenian Switzerland. In other words, welcome to Dilijan.